Let me ask you a question. At what age should you have it all together? At what age should you have it all figured out? I get a lot of mostly young men, and they lament that they're at a place in their life and they don't have it figured out. And they don't have it all together. And they wonder what's wrong with them because they don't have it figured out. They don't have it all together. Of course you don't have it all together. You're not supposed to have it all together. You're not expected to have it all together. Anybody looks at you at 26, 27, 28 years old and says, "Hey man, what's wrong with you? How come you don't have everything figured out?" They're a fool. Knowledge and experience and wisdom takes time. Wisdom comes from experience, and experience takes time. The more experience you have, the more you learn from that experience, the wiser you can get. If you haven't lived long enough to have a broad enough portfolio of experience, then you can't expect to have knowledge and wisdom. We are told by society today, and it's inferred by movies and television programs, that by the time you're 26 or 27, you should be graduated from college, you should have a degree, you should have a good job, you should have a wife, and you should have it together. We watch these programs and this movie, it's an hour and a half long, and within an hour and a half, a person goes from a goofed up teenager to someone who's just settled and got it all going on. And they get the job, they put their childhood bully in his place, they get the girl, fade to black. And we're left to imagine the rest of their life. And what we imagine is left with the last thing that we see. Man, they got it together. Of course, we don't consider the fact that if you turn the TV off and watch the news, you'll see those same actors show up in the news again and again, making stupid mistakes, and they ain't got it together. A pine tree grows and matures very fast. An oak tree grows and matures very, very slow. But which one lasts longer? And which one is stronger? Which one shelters more critters and more birds? Which one, when it's done and over and it's cut down, which one is more valuable for the lumber? People don't go out and say, "I'm going to spend extra money for some pine furniture." They want oak furniture. Got 5 grandbabies. Now, one of those grandbabies is, let's say that grandbaby is 14 months old and they're learning to walk. Okay? And so they're just in a diaper. You've seen it, they're just in a diaper and they're going across the kitchen floor to mama, and they're kind of weaving a little bit, and their little fat feet and their little fat thighs are just kind of thunk, thunk, thunk. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, and they got the bubble butt out here, the bubble tubby tummy out here, and they got the big old diaper in the back, so they're not balanced, all right? And so they lose their balance, and they're like, oh, bam, and they fall down and land flat on their butt. And they look shocked, and they look surprised, and then their face screws up, and they start crying bloody murder. That's the worst thing that has ever happened to them in their life. It's like a disaster of apocalyptic proportions because it's all they've ever known. And you've just gone through a breakup, and it's the worst thing you've ever been through. And it's a disaster of apocalyptic proportions because you haven't had the time and the experience yet to develop worse and to turn around and look at that in relation to the realities of a long life well lived. And one day you're going to try and look back and you're going to say, that really wasn't such a disaster. And in fact, that was probably the best thing ever happened to me. Some of you lost your job and you thought that job was it. And it was a good paying job. And you went 4 years of college in order to get the degree to get that job. And then you got the job, and then COVID happened, or layoffs and different stuff. And now all of a sudden you lost that job. It's the worst thing you've ever been through. And so all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, I thought my life was together. Now it's in shambles at my feet. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's all right. It's all right. You're not supposed to have it together. All right. Those who go to college, get out of college, get a job and stay in that job until they retire, then retire and buy property down in Florida. That's an anomaly. That's not normal. It happens, but it's an anomaly. And most of those people, they might be really good people, but they ain't got cool stories to tell. And you don't get wisdom. You don't get wisdom past a certain point by living that life. Okay? So 2 or 3 years ago, I made a whole series of really, really bad decisions. Really bad decisions. And it brought me to the point at 50, over 50, where I was like, I ain't got it together. I'm not mature. I'm not grown. I'm not the man I'm supposed to be. And I started working on it. And the man that I am today, the father that I would be today, if children were to come along today, that's not the man I was before. And that's not the father I could have been before. Okay? A blade does not become strong. It does not become tempered until it's been through the fire. Until it's been through the fire.